Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Okay, I am doing something I thought I would never do, and that is closing up windows intentionally. What I did is I took a look at some reference photos, or to put generations in the Blu-ray player, went through and looked at some of the scenes, noticed that there were a whole lot less windows lit than you think there are. So I went in and just picked the groupings that I saw that I thought looked right, and I am going to close those off. Now I've marked them from the front because that's the reference that I had. So now I need to basically I'm going to put some yellow tape over them from the outside. And then I can put this on a light table and see from the underside where the yellow is, and I'll fill in the windows with the tulip slick, and those windows will be permanently and forever blacked out. Hello and welcome back to the surface of Viridian 3. Actually, welcome back. It is week 4, I guess, on the Enterprise build, the Enterprise D build, and over the weekend I did some significant work. Most notably, I cut out the shuttle bay door. Now, the shuttle bay, I will tell you that Helios has provided as an add-on kit. It doesn't come with the regular kit. It's an add-on. It's nowhere near as intricate as what is spec'd out in the original set of blueprints. It's very it's really restrictive when it comes to that, and I am taking my own complete liberties with the painting of such. Now they have provided a set of walls for it to go in, and it will fit up inside. I'll turn this over. It fits up inside the bridge area here. Like I said, on the following the blueprints, the shuttle bay actually fills much of this docking area, or much of this deck area of the ship. So this is a much more restrictive view of it. So and there are no decals provided for it. So I am basically scavenging decals that I can find. Perhaps even painting a strip on. I don't think. No, it's awfully restrictive to paint in there, and I don't know how much the benefit would be once you get everything built and put in there. The wall's going to look something like that, with the observation room looking like that. And then that will fit up inside. That took a little bit of finessing and fine-tuning to get this to fit flush along the back floor. Let me again flip this big thing over like a flapjack and show you that when you fit it in place, it looks kind of like that. And I'll maybe put a little strip of lighting along the ceiling or something to show off some of that detail. And I need to make up a new door to go over the outside, which I have been schooled on. I'm finding building this kit to be a very humbling experience, because I am finding that I don't know as much about the Galaxy class ship as I thought I did. There's no one more dangerous than an idiot who thinks he knows it all. So I'm going back to school, as it were, on some of the features here. I have royally mucked up the tail fin of the secondary hull. We're going to see what we can do about that to fix it. But when it comes to the shuttle bay, I am going to be basically not making it up as I go, but I'm going to be doing some adapting and making do, so to speak. But it's going to go something like that. And there are little shuttles and some cargo containers and things like that to go in the, just to give some set dressing, so to speak, but it's going to look something like that. I did get the phaser strip mounted on top and bottom this weekend, and that's going to be something that we mask off and paint from here on out. The lower saucer is ready for primer now. It has been, the windows have all been masked off on it. The phaser strip has been masked off. All of the formation lights have had a little bit of fiber optic glued into them that I can trim down afterwards, but it is essentially ready to go. What's keeping this from being ready to go is masking the windows. I wanted to cut this out before I put any of the window masks down, because that's just going to it was just going to be an armful to get this out. And let me see if I could find the part to show you how thick the printed part was. This is the shuttle bay door. Look how thick that was. Good Lord, that was way too thick. I need to recreate this with some sheet stock so that I can have something there to place over that when it's closed, and it will be held on with a magnet or such. I don't know exactly how yet. We'll figure that out when we get to it. But where are we at on a Monday morning? I did notice that in the lighting of everything here, these guys, this I guess is the Arboretum. These lights kind of get left out. There's not really any light that shines up into them. The neck is here. We're going to have a bit of industry going on where we have the metal pole for the armature is going to be coming up through here from the underneath, so we don't have a lot of room. But what I thought would be a good solution for, let me find it. It's a Monday morning and I don't know where anything was. Where is there it is. Where these lights are, or those windows are, I think maybe what the best solution for that is to take this flat module, which is nothing more than an LED with a fancy filter or a fancy piece of plastic attached to it, and that's either awfully weak or it's got nothing on it. What is the deal here? That's strange. No, that's how it's supposed to be. It's just an awfully weak battery. Let me see if I've got a stronger one. There you go. That's it. That's the strong battery, and that's just an LED with a fancy piece of plastic attached to it. But if I shove it up under here, it's flat enough that it goes and it gives a nice gentle lighting to all of those windows without needing a lot of space underneath it. I've turned my attentions to the light box that I need to create. I've basically put up a thin wall here of white sheet styrene, and I am making a box that I can encapsulate these lights here that'll concentrate the lighting that's going to go up in the bridge module and those front venti types of windows. Not these guys, these will be covered over, but these guys. So basically I've cut a piece that will fit over top of that, and I'm going to put some strip LEDs. I've kind of mapped out the area. There's the bridge, there's the front windows where I'm going to put the strip lighting, and that'll help me indicate that. That's just regular standard window lighting on the same circuit with the rest of the window lighting. This is the, you can't barely see it here, but this is the strobe circuit that goes to the area behind the bridge. Now I've got a little dome that I've made out of the doming solar res and the UV resin, and I believe I'm going to stick that on from the outside. It's not something that really needs to go in here at this point, but before we close that up, I want to add some lights to this and test it and make sure we're getting enough bounce and spill and all those fancy terms. But the first thing I need to do is cover those over, and I think I'm just going to use some black electrical tape to close those. Alrighty, I've painted as much of the shuttle bay as I want to paint. The rest is going to be done with decals, but I need to get a satin coat over this first before I can do anything as far as laying decals down. This last piece goes in here, and I've chosen your typical 70s harvest gold colors, the tans and beiges and all of that for the sidewalls. Now I'm going to be putting some yellow accent decals on the floor, and I've also got this nice one from the refit set that's going to kind of go something like that. So let me shake up a can of the old satin and get some spray on this. Alrighty, now this is, you know, it's crude, it's basic, it's a shuttle bay, but basically what I've got is something that when I put it in the, you'll see it from like this angle, when I put it in the saucer, top of the saucer, it'll look like a nice shuttle bay. And there's a room for a light over this observation room. Let me see if I can put it up into the light where you can see how light would shine. See how there's a light there, and that would shine down on the floor. So we're going to let these decals set, and this is how we're going to end our day on a Monday. I am doing the first joint of the pylon to the nacelle. I've got a little metal spacer going between those two to pin them together. It looks like this, but it's going down between the pylon and the nacelle. What you see is the shadow of the channel that's going on the inside that's cut out for the wiring. I just basically have 5-minute epoxy in there. I'm going to clean that joint and cover it back over with putties and elixirs and potions and everything else once it's done. But we're going to let that sit up, and as you can tell, it is the bubble's right on, so we are level between, the table is level, the top of that is level, so hopefully that means the nacelle is going to be on there nice and level. Well, good morning, everybody. How you doing? It is Tuesday, and this morning I was not so gently awakened by the sound of pounding rain on the window. You know how it's nice to, you know, when you're going to sleep at night, to have a nice gentle, you know, just a nice gentle rain to help you, lull you to sleep. Well, it's not so much fun when it's coming at 4 o'clock in the morning and it's pounding on your windows and waking you up. And so I had a fitful morning of sleep. So if I'm a little bit grouchy today, that could be a good reason for it. But I will tell you, the other thing that did it, was that it really threw a monkey wrench in the painting plans for today, because it's wet outside. It's continued to rain. It's not that great. It's not dry out. It's not sunny out. We're getting into fall, and that's going to happen, but it's also thrown a big monkey wrench into the plans for getting any primer paint down. I was going to hopefully prime the lower saucer today, and I don't see that happening because of the just how ugly it is outside and how off and on the rain is. I cannot do that in the house. It's a rattle can, it's a spray can. It needs a good amount of, you know, place to dry, and excuse me, it just does not. I can't do it in the house. There are smaller pieces I could take out on the back, the covered part of my back porch and work on, but not the big saucer. So, a little bit of a gear shift. I'm going to start working on this piece today, because this piece I can work on. It's small, it's contained, it's on the tabletop, on the bench top here, and I can work on it. I've already got half of the windows down this morning. I just need to put the other half down, and then I can, I've cleaned this off. It'll be ready for a primer coat that I can set up on a box top, spray it lightly, and then whisk it back in here, and we will be able to judge this a little bit differently than we could the big. Plus, it has no wires hanging out of it, which makes it easier to handle. that is one thing we can work on today. Okay, the bottom hull is done, and waiting for it to clear up a little bit outside. So the next thing I can do would be continue the window palooza, would be on the neck and top of the secondary hull sections. That's something small that I could work on here, and then that would leave just the top of the saucer to be windowized. Friends, it's been one of those days, and it's not even over yet. It's been one of those days I've been windowing. I have got all of the windows in this side. I've got all of the windows in this side. I've got all the windows going up here to the top. What I don't have are the undersides. This is a mess, a big mass of windows I haven't done yet, and I haven't done this side. So I'm going to take a bit of a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to tackle the underside neck masking. Okay, I'm laying the tiny windows in the neck. You can see how tiny and tiny those are. And the problem is, or the thing to consider at all times is, there is no grid lines, for lack of a better term. There's no hull indents. Every other iteration of this ship I have ever seen or worked on has had lines etched in the length of the neck that kind of tell you where the decks are. This does not have that, so it's making keeping the windows in a straight line a little bit more problematic. Now I'm using the cutouts from the printed part and my filled-in windows, but I am guarding against the line of windows getting all wavy. Now this particular one, this particular window, only because I'm on camera did it take that kind of length. It was being extra finicky. They actually do go on quicker than that. But you know how it is. You get something on camera and it wants to show off. Now for some reason that I don't quite know, these two windows are square in the file / printout of this neck. So I'm going to have to dip into my other sheets here to get the square windows that want to go there. They're almost the same as the ones going up by the Arboretum. So let me see if I could find a spare one of those. Yeah, here we go. There's a spare one of those. And then another one right next to it. Well, it's taken a good chunk of the day. But I've got this side of the neck done. I've got the top and the sides. I have just this side of the neck to finish. And I ain't going to do it today, I don't think. I think I'm going to set that to the side and try to think of something a little bit more different, maybe a little bit more fun to do. And I think I may start putting some masks down on the top of the saucer because it's something that needs to get done, but it's also going to be infinitely easier and more zen-like to do that than to do the other side of the neck. And I realize I'm not even pointing to anything that's on screen right now. It's just been that kind of day. So let me put this to the side and grab the saucer. Okay, here's something I did earlier today, which was to put the first blue coat, this is the French blue, on the bottom of the secondary hull. And I'm thinking, what better way to end the day than to do the same thing up here? I've got all these windows masked. I've got the phaser strip on and it's been masked. I've got this detail I just put on and it's been masked. I'm thinking, and I've got the overlap area masked off, I'm thinking this would be a good time to finish the day out by putting some blue on this saucer and finishing the day in a dramatic way. Well, so I decided to put a couple hours in today, starting on the windows for the top of the saucer. I've got from here all the way over to here, so I've got this full quadrant done, and I've got a little bit of this done. And I don't know how much more I'm going to do tonight. It does get easier. You just kind of zone out and start filling in holes after a while. So I may go ahead and do a little bit more this evening before I call it a day, but maybe I'll get this much done. Morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, and I'm resisting the urge to make this Weather Wednesday, but I have to say, for the second day in a row, the weather is dogging me. Last night, and this is something you don't care about, but I would go anyway. I was woken up in the middle of the night by a lightning and thunderstorm so strong that I could see the lightning through my closed eyelids. It woke me from a sound sleep. That's how strong the storm was. Now, it wasn't a strong, windy, that type of strong storm. It wasn't like a hurricane or anything. And I've slept through hurricanes. This was bright lightning, like next to the window. I mean, it's got to be right next to the house. And then, the crack of thunder that was enough to jolt me up right out of the sound sleep. But this went on for 15, 20 minutes. Just the brightest light show and loudest thunder I can ever remember hearing. It's like being right in the middle of a fireworks display. But that's how I started my day. But I was able to get back to sleep. You will appreciate that. So today we are finishing the windows, believe it or not. I got a lot done on this last night. I would come in, as I'm puttering around the house, take a break, come in, do 20 minutes of windows, go back out, do something else, come back in, do another 20 minutes or so. But I've got just doing a little bit of cleanup here around the phaser strip. I got just this batch of windows left to do on the saucer, and it'll be done. I've got the VIP windows to mask, and then the saucer will be ready for the VIP windows and the phaser strip. Get all of those masked, and then I'll be ready for priming, I think. No, I take that back too. There's one more thing. There's like a little punch list of things left to do on the saucer. Right up here on this trench, you'll see how the trench goes all the way around. Well, right about in here, there's a maneuvering thruster. There's a decal that goes over that, and the channel needs to be filled in. This needs to be filled in right about here, where that decal goes. The trench, the sensor trench around the saucer, does not go the full length. It's broken up in 4 places where the maneuvering thrusters go. So I've got to take care of that, and I'll do that with the light curing putty. Give it a quick sand, and it'll be ready to go. Finish masking these windows, mask the VIP, mask the phaser strip, do the 4 bits of that. Yeah, and then I'll be ready to put some primer paint on it. But luckily, it's not anywhere near already outside. The weather is not going to be conducive for a few more hours yet, so it's not like I am it's holding me up or anything. I've got this last bit of windows to do here, and then I just have the underside of the neck on the starboard side, and then that finishes all of the masking, and I swear I will get on to after that has been taken care of, I will get on to the nacelle lighting, which is something I promised I would start yesterday but didn't. The joint between the nacelle and the pylon, I did put a little bit of plastic putty on last night, and I let that set up overnight, and we're going to maybe try to work that into some shape today, and then that will be all of the manhandling on that particular section of the ship, and that will allow us to put it on the bench here and start working on the lighting for that. Like I said, this goes pretty quickly if you get a rhythm down and you just pluck them off the sheet and you place them down. It's nowhere near as difficult as doing the side of the neck where you're trying to work in and around these odd angles. These are about as obvious and flat as possible. So we're going to we're going to continue with this and finish this up and probably in the next 10-15 minutes. Huzzah, all the windows are masked. Yay! Next step is to fill in the trenches here. Now I've marked out on the saucer where the maneuvering thruster decals will go. This is not a decal, this is a printout of the decal art, but it is the same size. And that's going to go right there, so it's right in the center of that trench. That's what I've got to fill in. So I'm getting out the fun recall, and we will go from there. Okay, the top saucer is masked off and ready for the blue primer spray. So I'm going to do a quick weather check, see what it's looking like outside, because this is too big to do anywhere else. I got to sit it out on the deck, spray it, and then keep it covered at least for a few minutes, or keep it outside for a few minutes, and then I can bring it in finish drying. I'm just checking the masking on the phaser strip. Now these bits here, but you can't see, and I'm pointing to where the indicators are and the red and green navs and all that. That's an extra piece. Well, here, this is the strobe. That's an extra long piece of fiber optic that I don't care if it gets paint on, because I'm going to trim it down when we get ready to do the close-up painting. We'll trim all that off. So I've got the blockages put on where the maneuvering thrusters are, so we're good to go on that. I'm just doing a little bit of a mental checklist here, just trying to keep the paint out of the shuttle bay area. The shuttle bay is not installed, but I just want to keep that blue paint out of the area. These might get paint in them. I'm prepared to fill those back in with tulip from the outside if they do. So really it's just a matter of getting up a little bit of nerve and doing this, because this is one of those big landmark moments that you don't get back if you go amiss the first time. So just giving it the last bit of inspection. Well, this will be a day long remembered. Now, we have seen the end of Kenobi. No, we have seen the end of the windowing. The windows are all done. Yay! Windows are done on that side. Windows are done on that side. I am ready to put a coat of the blue on this, I believe. At long last, we are starting work on the nacelles. So the first thing I did was pull out the parts, the lighting that Helios has provided, and the parts, and see where everything is. Now this bulb here I'm adding because it goes back in the back of the nacelle, top and bottom, and they did not include those in their package. So what I've got is this kind of pieces just laying together here. The top part I've already put the blue paint on. It's out in the living room drying right now. And then the front cowling is also, I've got the blue on, and it's out drying. And then we've got the Bussard collector. Now Phil did an excellent job sanding up his Bussard collector, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to give it a once over and a what for with a, this is a 150 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to give it a good gentle scratching. Now I'm going to be refining this with higher grit sandpapers, but I just want to get a frosting look on it. So you can see we're just getting a nice little scuff on it. And looking at the other lighting they provided, I divided everything in two because we've got two nacelles. But they've given us 4 strips of what looks like double density blue, presuming this is blue, LED strip tape. And it's enough to do 2 strips on either side in height. But I don't think you want to do that. I think you want to do one strip in height going around the back here. You don't want to lay it up against here, but I'm just doing this for purposes of explanation. And then you want to double up in here where you've got more area to light. It has to go up in like that, and then of course lighting down the center, which means we're going to have to build some sort of ovular elongated thing that's going to go here. Basically it's going to be longer. It's going to be shorter than that, but longer. Let's say like that. And then we're going to wrap our LEDs around it, sort of like this, in such a way that, let's get that out of the way, in such a way that our lighting goes all the way to the back, like about like that. And that's going to light out the back and at the sides. And then they also provided these laughably small, what are these? I doubt these are even, I think these are like 1.83 mil reds. No bueno. You need at least two big 5 mil red LEDs then. At least two 5 mil red LEDs, if not more. So while I cogitate the best thing to build those little islands out of and continue to sand the Bussard collectors, I will give my thought processes over to what best way to light the red LEDs. I believe I've got a couple of 5 mils. I should be able to find a couple or 4 red 5 mils somewhere, because you want to match them. Same thing in both nacelles. And then we're down to running the chase wires down to the pylon. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, and yes, serious work on lighting the nacelles commences today. The first thing I wanted to do was to put some ribbon cable into the channels that were printed into the pylons. They will get covered up with these little grate features, but I need to get them covered up with a bit of probably the, well, I'm going to glue them in first with some CA, and then I think the next thing on top of that would be to put some of the putty on top of those and smoosh that down nice and flat. But I joined them together into one common branch here. And this is for the 4 wires that we are going to need. Now we're going to need a common positive, and then we're going to need a negative for the red Bussard lights. That's 1. The blue warp grill lights, that's 2. And the nacelle, or the rear nacelle indicator lights, that's 3. And they'll be top and bottom. So there's 3 negatives and a common positive. That's where you get four wires. So now that I've got my lengths down and I've got this kind of taped down, I can go ahead and secure these and be filling in the pylons. Let me go ahead and take these clear bits over because they are delicate. And you can see this one's black because I pulled the tape off of it. But I'm going to tuck this down into the pylon there, and then we're going to putty over the hole that was left where I had to cut a channel. Okay, so the first wire, or the first ribbon cable, is buried. You'll be able to see through that, or it looks kind of opaque because I used the Fun Recall. I've been calling this Fun Recall. It's actually Fun Recall. It's functional creative control, or comes very colorful. So it's Fun Recall, not Fun Recall. But I used that. I CA'd the wire in place, and then I troweled some of the Fun Recall over top of it, and I just sanded it down. I put a top layer of the frozen Vaseline putty because it gives me a nice smoother finish. So it's a little bit of everything in there. But I've got that good and buried, and now I'm going to do the one on the other side. Alrighty, now because I've got both of these ribbon cables firmly ensconced, and I like that word, ensconced, in the pylons, the next step I can go ahead and do is to glue these grills down over the top. And they are basically, well, they're going to help cover up some of this ugly channel, but it's the last bit of raised detail that we have on the pylons. And contrary to most accepted wisdom, they're the same color as the rest of the hull. They're not called out as a separate color. And I remember when I did the 1400 scale model back in the day, I believe I painted those out a different color. But going back and looking at references or newer references, they're not. So we can go ahead and put them down now and blend them in without worrying about having to mask them off and paint them a separate color. This leading edge here is it goes parallel to this leading edge. Let's go ahead and put that in camera so you can see it. This leading edge here is parallel to this indent, so that gives us a good place to align these, because again, the fine people at Helios didn't think it was necessary to put any sort of indicator on the hull itself. And when you do that, it kind of follows this same arc here. So it's a little bit thick, it's a little bit stiff, but it's going to have to be pulled down into place. But a little bit of CA on the back of that, and that will take care of it just fine. I just wish they had, put some indented marks or something to indicate where exactly these pieces go. They didn't do it with the phaser strips. They didn't do it with this grill. It's just, spend a little extra time with your kit before you find out whether or not you think it's ready for prime time. Okay, so I'm building the light box now. I've got, I think since the last you saw, I got these grills put in. But I'm building the light boxes now, and this will be what I wrap the blue LED strip around the outside. The inside is going to be providing my channel for the wiring. I'm going to need to build a hole right in the front here to accept the wiring from the Bussard collector. I'm going to need to make a hole in the back to accept the lighting from the formation light. It's not a nav light. It's not green or red. It's just a formation light. It's a constantly or a static on white. So that's going to go back there, and there's also one on the top. So what's going to happen is that this is going to, all of my industry is going to happen inside there, and then this will go down on top and be glued down over it. Now what I have to do is make sure this is not too tall, that this won't close over it, and it seems to be about right. I don't see it, nothing's binding up on it. I need to get, I guess, a coat of paint on the clear part first, because it needs to actually be glued down. It needs to be glued in place probably before this box goes down. So that needs to happen next. And then I need to make sure that this grill is evenly spaced, because you can see how warped it is. I need to make sure that it is evenly spaced here, and I don't want it to let's go ahead and take this tape off of the this was just tape I had over the original black light blocking. So I guess what I need to do is to pull out the old copper paint and paint the clear part. Okay, we're doing some test fitting We've got the grills painted with the copper. We've got the string of blue lights loosely placed in there. And there's no worry that the copper is too thick for the blue light to shine through it. Looks wonderful. When it's off, it's copper. When it's on, it's blue. And like I said, again, this is very loosely placed. It'll actually be up against this wall towards the inside. I have to add some more blue lights for the front here. And I'll pack some fiber in between the this inner box and the outer bit so that hopefully that will diffuse some. I wanted to slide this up front just to make sure. Yeah, it's gonna work there as well. I'm debating whether how much of it I need to add. I'm thinking that I might want to add like a couple inches on up here at the front where there is so much. Let's say here's an example. Here's maybe one long strip going all the way up, and then two shorter strips on either side to cover the wider area here. Good morning, folks. How's everybody doing? It's Friday. It's the last work day of the week. It's the last work day on the Enterprise D for this week. Well, you know, it depends. I hate to make this lose weather week, but we've got the remnants of Helene coming up now, and it's really outside nothing but a little bit overcast, a light breeze, a little bit of rain. But I've told you before, and it's a known fact, that if 3 squirrels join hands and sneeze at the same time, I will lose power. So it's entirely possible that anything could happen today. So with that in mind, I am going to be concentrating, that was the word I was trying to find, concentrating on the nacelle lighting for today. And if I only get one done today, that'll be great, because that will give me the blueprint for doing the other one. This is always the time where I'm, you know, fighting through ideas and struggling with methodologies and things like that. So I'm concentrating on one nacelle, and then it's always easy to carry that over. Now, I don't remember where I left off yesterday, so I'll just bring you up to speed. If you've already seen this, then, you know, fast forward. I've got this internal box made. This is our blue lighting. I'm going to wire all this together and try it out. It's going to sit inside this framework. Now, the next thing, actually, the first thing I want to do is I want to glue this framework down. I've got the copper painted on it. I've tested it with the blue lights behind it, and yes, you can see very well through it. That's not a problem at all. I am going to be tacking this down with CA, and I'm going to be bringing it all the way out as much as possible to this outer edge. I believe that is something that can be done. It'll stretch enough to do that. We're going to start at the back and work our way to the front. And I'm going to take this collar here, and I'm going to attach it to the front. This is the ribbed for your pleasure collar that's going to go like that, and that's going to pull these two pieces up. Now, I know Phil's had some issues with there being a gap there, but honestly, what I want to do is I want to eliminate this fragileness here. And if I can go ahead and pull that up and CA it together, then this becomes less fragile to work with. And then all I'll have to do is make my lighting buck for the red LEDs that go in the front here, and then I can attach that to the front of this once I'm ready. There'll be 2 or 3 red LEDs going up in here. I need to make a back plate with some holes in it, and that'll go on the front of this. But I can go ahead and put that back piece in now. Alrighty, now if you'll hear stuff going on in the background, it is everybody who is talking about weather, and we've got storm or tornado warnings and all that kind of stuff going on. So I'll try to talk over it, because I know this is much more important than, you know, anything that could be potentially catastrophic. You want to see a warp core or a warp engine lit up. This is the box that I've made, and it's basically 2 strips on the side, or two up front and one going down the length. Now I'm going to fit this inside. I don't think you've seen it since I've put the ribs on the front there. So let's get this fitted into the nacelle, and I'll get the lid put on loosely because obviously any light leakage that's going to happen is going to be taken care of once we get this nailed down. Okay, this is the non-fiber fill version. I haven't put any diffuser in there yet, but it's looking pretty good, I have to say. I think that's going to be enough lighting up front. I'm seeing what Phil was complaining about as far as the spacing here. That's not quite long enough. So that's going to have to be filled in. No pun intended. But that's going to go like that. It's going to fit down nicely, and when the power is off, it looks completely copper and then blue when the lights come on. So I think we're good. I want to glue this inner cage down. This needs to be glued down, and then we can pack it with the fiber fill and wire it to one of these actual wires there. Yeah, that's going nicely. And the next step will be to go ahead and do this backlight since it's in the way. I need to do that white light that goes here, plus then I want to just throw a ton of tulips, black tulip on it to light block it. Okay kids, it's about 11:20 and the power is starting to blip, so I've already had to shut the computer off, and I'll work as long as I've got power, and hopefully we will get through this, but anything could happen from here on out on that. So now when I go all the way down here to my joint operations down here, let me clear some of this off. This is starting to become quite the mess. When I do that, I should be able to test my continuity here by saying, okay, positive goes to the orange, negative goes to the blue, and we are done. So we have wiring all the way down, continuity out to there, out to the joint. So yay. Now that I know that works, and I know that there's enough wiring in it, or enough lighting in it, I have not stuffed any fiber fill in it, but it's going to be much easier to stuff it, said fiber fill if I have it well and truly nailed down. So this is where I'm going to tack it a little bit with some CA, and then I am going to use some 1-minute epoxy and just drench it. Just drench it so that that whole thing does not move for the life of the it. Let's see. I'm going to mark a spot. I'm going to do that. I'm going to push that all the way up to there. We're going to mark this spot where, let's see, it's not quite laying on the ground. Oh, I know what we can do. We can take some of this shimmage. I have shimmage where I've cut pieces off yesterday when I was making said trench, and said trench was too tall. I can cut that and put it on the sides. Yes, I'll cut a couple sets of that. And I'm going to shut the camera off just in case I need the battery power for later. Well, good news. It's coming up on noon, and I think the worst is past us. Everything seems to be heading to the north and to the east of us now, so I think all we got was a little bit of wind. I got a branch down that was a dead branch that was hanging, Widowmaker that was hanging up in the trees. That came down, no big deal. But we've got some blowing rain. We'll have some flash flooding here for the next, I guess, day or so. But I think we have come out pretty good, all things considered. I've got the back lower marker light in, and now I'm starting to work on the Bussard collectors. Now the Bussard collectors, obviously, they go up here, and what I need to do is make a plate, and in this plate I will have, I'm still thinking 2 is going to be sufficient. 2 5mm red LEDs. It looks a little bit like a pig nose, but it's going to be like that, and then that's going to sit inside that housing there. But I need to cut these out of the cardstock first and sand them up and get them ready. I'm going to leave space just in case I need to put a third one in. I'm going to try to resist that though. Okay, preliminary work on the Bussard collector. I think I need something. I think I need something in the center. Maybe something, this is what I've got. I've got 2 bulbs doing this. And I'm thinking if I put a third one in the center and raise it up about like that, that will get more light to the front. This does a wonderful job of lighting the sides. Very happy with that. And that could be the distribution of the fiber fill. Let me take that out. See, if you take that out, you get headlights, which isn't not headlights. You get headlights, which isn't exactly the look I'm going for either. So maybe a third one in the center. Maybe a third one. Oh, you know what I have? I've got a 3mm orange. Let me try a 3mm orange in the center of that. See if that would warm it up a little bit, plus give me some interest. Okay, I like what the orange is doing here. I'm still getting a dull spot right up in there. It's a lot better when there's not light shining on it. If the darker the room it's in, the better it shows up. I like it very much from the top. I like it from the side. I think we're down to everything being fiber fill distribution at this point. I think everything that's left that I don't particularly like, I can get away with just by changing the fiber fill. Now if I take it without any, you can see how wildly sourcey that is. So that's the fault of these red LEDs. I think if I sanded them and made them less focused, I wouldn't have that problem. Again, I like that look from the top, but it's the dead-on look I don't like. So putting some of the patented famous fiber fill in there and making it very loose and nebulous, you get a much happier, oh, I like that, a much happier look with that. Yeah, okay. I like this arrangement, so I'm going to shorten all these wires and make them so they will fit in the space that I've got, which means cutting them off pretty close to the end of the resistor there and redoing the wiring. I have temporarily joined all the wires together up there at this joint here so that we can see we've got the underneath. Now I've not got the top one wired because I'm going to be able to take that top off and back, but we've got a light there. We've got the blue lights going all the way down. We've got the orange and red lights at the front here. That I still think we need to finesse a little bit, but this is not glued on, so I can still do that. Where we're at though is we're ready to get to the stage where I can epoxy this cage down to this inner wall down and stuff it with fiber fill. I can do the upper light and put it in here and get it ready to attach to these 2 points. These are the only points that are not shrink tubed. But that's it. Okay, I've got the top wire, the top light wired in. I probably should check that before I go any further, because what I am ready to do is I am ready to, let's see, that wire right there, and let's pull the power over to it. Yes, that is both of this top and bottom. I got to put the black tulip around there first, but not in a rush to do that yet. What I'm ready to do now, though, is to put the epoxy, to put this cage in place. Once that epoxy has set, I can pack this with fiberfill and close everything up. This is still free to come off up front so that I can do any sort of altering I want to do. See, that's free to come off. Actually, I should probably just leave that off. And this circuit board is just hanging out the front. Okay, I'm working slightly out of order this time, but I got the back lights done first instead of the Bussard collector lights. But you can see they're working on both nacelles. So, yay, that's a happy. And the next thing to do is I go ahead and make up the Bussard collector lights. I think I can go ahead and put the epoxy in here now. I had waited, well, I had done that last on that one, but since I got the backlights done, I could go ahead and put that epoxy in. And while that's setting up, I can be building the circuit board that goes on the front Bussard collectors. Let's do that. That's fun. I like putting epoxy in. Okay, so there are light leaks galore, and the tops aren't nailed down yet, and I have not put the fiberfill in yet, but all of the lighting is done in the nacelles and in the warp engines, the Bussard collectors, and the top and bottom formation lights. Everybody's happy, everybody's working, everybody's smiling and joyful. Now, over the weekend, I will probably jam the fiberfill in here and maybe even get to where the tops are glued down. Phil, I'm not having that problem. I can pull my tops together and there's no gap. So maybe I got an early version 2 of these. But everybody is happy and good. So that's a great place to end for this week. And that's what I'm gonna do. And that finishes this week. This week's build. What is this? 4 or 5? I'd have to go check. But that finishes this week, and I think it's a great place to stop. Now, it's true that I worked a little bit later into Friday than I normally do, but with weather difficulties and finding a good place to stop, I think this makes up for it. This is a wonderful milestone. It's a wonderful place to stop, and I can't wait to get back onto this. I'll work on this over the weekend, but it's starting to pick up speed now. Hopefully I'll see a stand pretty soon. I'll be able to start nailing some parts together. Getting on, well, I got a lot done. You've seen the video. I've got a ton done this week, and we're in a great spot. So join us again next week as we continue this saga and continue work on getting all of this put together. So until then, be good to each other, be good to yourself, be safe, keep an eye on the skies, be smart, keep an eye on the skies, and be back here next week.